Blessed ones of the nations of the world, thus is your brother Dan Moses or say your Sakodi of TRC, Ghana, coming to you with a program Testimony New World Disorder from the land of Ghana, specifically from Kumasi, the Ashanti region. I want to welcome us from the land of my birth, the land of my nativity, Ghana, and by saying to us, Akwaba, Ale, Sahale, Shagitam, welcome, Nganjoni, Bem-vindo, you are welcome, Kuso, Diwo, Tusanyo Okukulaba, Mauya, Mingalaba, Boyei, Malamu, Karibu, Ekabo, no, O, Sanu, Dezua, Enkwandehena, Mitash, Doboro, Pezaluvat, Bine I Vinit, Barigalus, Vita Iche, Ayubon, Dobridoya, welcome, Estan, Hozut, Walam, Anuman, bienvenido, namaste, swagitam, kush, amadit, Baruch, haba, marhaba, wanyong haminida, wanying nyejeko, ademime nyejeko, we zolo novio, miawezo, akwaba to the program, Testimony New World Disorder, Testimony New World Disorder, which is the program through which we get to know what is happening to Ghana, humanity, America, and the nations of the world in these times of global deception, delusion, and willful lies that are made up by some of the very people that we trust to be there for humanity and the nations of the world, and yet have chosen to be the very people that are dealing with that by willful lies, deception, and delusion, having brought humanity and the nations of the world into this total global helplessness. No matter whichever name they give to it, situation is up to them, but they have done this to us. But we are not moved in a sense that by this same program we as well get to receive some divine guide, divine direction, divine insight, that we might know what to do in the face of these global unthinkable challenges and problems that all nations of the world face. Akwaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder, humanity and the nations of the world. On Friday the 14th of May, we had brought to understanding that it may be possible that we shall not receive further exposés because we are I'm undergoing doing everything possible to gain my physical health that is terribly damaged back, and preparations are underway as I must be in America so far as justice in the case is concerned, for the sake of my two tortured and abducted children. So, but however, humanity and the nations of the world, God is calling on me to come with this special edition of the Exposé Testimony New World Disorder, because if we should leave us hanging, we will be doing Israel, Palestine, all Muslims of the nations of it all Judaists, all Christians, the human race, the united, we shall be doing us a great disservice, and therefore God need us to bring some insight, some expose that we understand situation better, even as we take a break. Humanity and the nations of the world, we want to reiterate and establish clearly that Israel is not to blame for this problem created by political minds, diplomatic minds, religious minds of my nation, Ghana, and of America. Palestine is not to blame for this problem created willfully for humanity and the nations of the world. The noble Judaists of the noble Judaists, Muslims and Christians, we are not to blame. Humanity and the nations of the world. However, we need to understand that we are dealing with an issue which problem was created by the administration of John Ejekum Akufo, supported by Nana Addo Akufo Addo, the Ghana Embassy, Washington DC, during Kufuor's administration, George W. Bush's administration, diplomatic stakes in America, political stakes and religious stakes colluding to create this problem willfully for humanity and the nations of the world. And I take it again, Christians of the nations of the world, Judeans of the nations of the world, Muslims of the nations of the world, not Israel, not Palestine, not humanity is to blame for this. However, the brains that have done this evil are right in my own nation, Ghana, and in the land of America. Humanity and the nations of Akufo to the program Testimony New World Disorder. Because of how complex a problem that has been created for the human race, it directly impacts on the peace and security of Israel and Palestine. If we would be observant, since I came to Kumasi and this expose started coming, we have seen the situation of Israel and Palestine. The truth and the reality that is known to Israel and Palestine, noble Muslims of the nations of the Christendom, the Judaists, is that they know that this very issue is very sensitive and directly impact the entire human race. So we should not be, it's unfortunate that this problem has been created for us. This expose is coming in special dedication to Israel, to Palestine, and to my wounded and exploited family in Ghana. Humanity, I'll take it again. This special expose is coming in special dedication to Israel, Palestine, and my wounded and bruised, exploited family in Ghana. Humanity and the nations of the world. Akufo to the program Testimony New World Disorder. So there is no way, there is no reason that Israel and Palestine should get on each other and continue bloodshed. The brains behind this exploiting of Israel and Palestine, exploiting the global situation, they are in comfort. John Akufo, as I speak, Jerry John Rawlings has lost his precious life. John Akufo is sitting in comfort. Nana Addo Akufo and Mahmoud Bawumia, they are cronies of the Ghana embassy in Washington DC. George W. They are all relaxing in comfort. Barack Obama, all of them. However, we see what is happening. So humanity, let's get some understanding for the sake of the peace, security, and stability of the nations of the world. Let's get some understanding. Ghana, that John Akufo and his administration, George W. Bush, and the political, diplomatic, and religious minds of John Akufo's cronies and his cronies and their counterparts in America, that they, in order for them to have a solid ground to hold me as a terrorist, get me persecuted, that they go about the global killing machinery on the hand for Osama bin Laden and create more problem for Israel, Palestine, and Muslims and Christian Judeans of the nations of the world. They strategically had to set up the Muslims of the nations of the Islamic powers, set them up, set Palestine up, set Israel up, so that as we see now there is confusion in Israel and Palestine, among Israel and Palestine, they are relaxing, and that is it doesn't affect them like they think it's okay with them. But humanity and the nations of the world, let's understand how how diabolical they have been to the noble Muslims of the nations of the world, due to their hatred, the hatred of these minds behind the evil, the evil they have done to Muslims and the evil they have done to Israel. Now, Mahmoud Bawumia, as I would say, low self-esteem and self-pity. He cannot see himself as an equal Ghanaian because he's despised based on his religion. He's despised based on his the place that he comes from as a northerner, and he among his own political party, he knows this so well. So in order for him to gain favor amongst his own people, John Akufo, Nana Addo Akufo, he had to give his mind over to be exploited, that they climb on my back, exploiting the innocent Muslims of the nations of the world, that making a fool of them. That when I was in the interest of this US undercover, when I was in Ghana, I was married to a Muslim and I was a Muslim. They must, just like you have seen in America before they set up marriage, they had to use the Quran. And so Ghana is because Mahmoud Bawumia was a Muslim. They had to use his face for them to make a fool of the Islamic powers of the world, to make up a willful lie that I was married to a Muslim in Ghana and I committed a crime against a fellow Muslim so that he might gain the support, that the torture and persecution against me, the abduction of my innocent children, is justifiable. While the truth is, he had colluded with his own political cronies to get innocent Muslim killed for no reason, for a man who was long dead and was not alive, Bin Laden, whom they know. Humanity and the nations, let's remember, I say Israel did not create this problem. Palestine did not create it. Let's get it clear. So Ghana, let's get it clear. It is Mahmoud Bawumia who had to use his position as a Muslim, and in order to fool the Muslims further. That is why in 2017, 2019, when I had come to Ghana, he had to pose as a Christian. I mean, you cannot know whether he's a Christian or Muslim, parading in Duncan Williams Church, quoting scriptures here and there, wanting. He cannot accept himself as a Muslim that he is. He must live in denigrating his own self, just because he's seeking acceptance. Ghana, that is the ugly strategy that they use against the innocent Muslims, which has cost their lives so much in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and on the nations of the world. Let's get this clear. You know, to them, it is easier for them to brand me a Muslim and get me killed in a foreign land. It is going to be a very big problem for them, knowing that I was a Christian. A Christian is whom I had been in Ghana and who I am. For them to hold me as a Christian and a terrorist, it is going to change the dynamics of the war on terror completely. So, in order for them to get away with their crime, that is why they had to brand me a Muslim, put a crime on me that I've committed a crime against a Muslim. Every ugly thing that they had to do to destroy me, they had to do. Beside that, Ghana, I need us to understand the IGP, Ghana Police Service, National Security, BNI, all of you, that you understand that real problem has been created by some minds of our nation, and humanity is at stake. The entire world is at stake. Israel, Palestine, all Muslims, Judaism, Christians, we are all at stake. And we shall not allow you to continue exploiting the situation to your greedy gain at the expense of humanity. We shall not allow you. So you better start sitting and thinking about the problem you have created and think peace. That is what you need to do. Ghana, to the mind-blowing of the noble people of Israel and Muslims or the nations of the world, this undercover agent is not just a US undercover agent. It's not just an agent for the George Bush administration and John Akufo's administration. In order for them to create a terrible situation between Israel and Palestine, Muslims and Christians of the nations of the world, Judaism of the nations of the world, they ensure that this undercover agent, whom they use for the setup agenda, Israel, this is to your shore. she is a double agent, an agent and a cover agent for the US, and is an agent for Israel. They had to set Israel up in this, so that they are entangling Israel in the problem in such a way that if the Muslims of the nations will have to resist for what is being done, then Israel is affected. If Israel would have to rise up for her defense, then the Muslims are also affected. Christians are affected. That is how diabolical they had been. But let me tell us how good God has been to us. God has been to humanity and the nations of the world. God has been to me. If you look at how a dangerous trap that they set for me, they intended to do nothing short but to kill me and to destroy my innocent life. They would definitely need the support of Israel if they will be able to declare me a terrorist. So they must set Israel up in such an ugly, terrible deal with this US undercover agent. Humanity and the nations of the world. God is so good such that before I left, I was set up onto the soil of America by the administration of George W. Bush, that they put the crimes of that terrorist Moses Alobu on me. I was a school teacher holding to the chalk. Beside that, I was running a youth ministry, raising the youth of Ghana, of Tema, in the Lord, imparting the fear of God in them. By the grace of God, my little income that I was making as a teacher, I was able to establish scholarship for excellent performing students among the members of the ministry. That those that excel, I put a quota of an amount that go to you should you come out with an excellent grade in your final results at school. Ghana, I was also dealing with African clothes, go to the north and go bring. So I was doing everything. I was a writer. I published my first book called TRC Stuff, doing everything possible to support myself, to support my ministry, and to support the nation, Ghana, and the young of my nation. God being so good, Israel, hear this. Noble Muslims of the world, hear this. What God did for us. When I was in Ghana, my ministry, TRC, our support was coming from a Jewish family, Ellen Reed and the husband Doug Reed, who are based in Hong Kong, who have written the book, What Do You Want, Lord? They were supplying me books upon books for free that we use for evangelism and sharing amongst our members. So God went ahead in advance of the evil of John Akufo, Akufo, George W. Bush. God knew that they would seek to get the African killed. So he ensured that he had established a perfect relationship between me and the noble Jew, people of the Jews. Although I was in Ghana, I had not traveled to Jerusalem or Israel before. I have not gone to Palestine before. Yet God established that kind of bond because before the setup marriage, Ghana, issue of terrorism is very sensitive that Israel would like to look into it. America will look into it. Muslims would like to look into it to find the truth out. What happened was Israel's investigation had proven. Go find it out from Netanyahu and his administration. Israel investigation had proven that I have not committed any crime against any Muslim in Ghana. Neither was I a Muslim when I was in Ghana. It was a pure setup that wicked minds of my nation have set me up into such problem. They have found out that when I was in Ghana, it was the Bible that I had taken as my daily bread, and I was using to serve my community and my people. Beside that, I had nothing wrong against any Judaist or any Muslim, because I was being supported by even Judaists. I was being supported by a Jew who had become a Christian. I was being supported. My ministry was being supported. So how can Jew be supporting a terror organization? So there was no truth in that. Israel found out that this is a crime that the states in Ghana and America were committing. Humanity and the nations of the world. This God used to give me a special favor in the sight of the nation Israel and in the sight of Muslims, because they knew that I had not committed any such crime. But the challenge became, how does Israel put up his face plainly and come to my defense? It would seem as, meanwhile, my own people have made up a way for that I was a Muslim. They have used the Quran to set me up in America. So how Israel was in a critical situation. It tried to defend me, and the security is at stake. It will look as if he's colluding. Meanwhile, John Akufo is when John Evans Fifi Atamel successfully became a president of Ghana eventually, he knew so well that there is no truth in what John Akufo and his administration have done to me with their cronies in them. There is no truth in it. So what John Evans, His Excellency John Evans Fifi Atamels, would do for me was to throw his support in every possible way that he could. What did John Evans Fifi Atamels do for the nation Israel for my sake? Ghana, for 30 years, during the rule of His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, through the period of John Akufo's 8 years of rule, there was nothing like Israeli embassy or consulate in Ghana. It has been shut down. But this is what His Excellency John Evans Fifi Atamels did in support of me, to gain the support of Israel to fight for me in a willful setup that had been set up. I was being willfully branded a Muslim just to get me killed. His Excellency John Evans Fifi Atamels' administration, for the love for me, ensured that he has laid down his life for me by making the Israeli embassy, their consulate, get opened in Ghana. For 30 years, there was nothing like that on the soil of Ghana. Ghana, let's go check. Investigative journalists. This happened under the rule of His Excellency John Evans Fifi Atamels. As at then, in the diplomatic world, political world, international world, they knew that this problem had been created. And the problem was growing by day. So this is what His Excellency John Evans Fifi Atamels did to lay down his life for me. Ghana, Akwaba to the program Testimony, New World Disorder. Now, the question that we might ask is, for 30 years, there had not been a Israeli embassy in Ghana. It has been closed down. What would the relation of His Excellency John Evans Fifi Atamels and His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings be when he had his administration had open the Israeli embassy. He had made the Israeli open their embassy, their country in Ghana. How is it going to impact their relationship? Ghana, it was not much of a problem between His Excellency John Ivan Fifi Atamils and Jerry John Rawlings. But however, we could see that all through the rule of His Excellency John Ivan Fifi Atamils and Jerry John Rawlings, there were skirmishes here and there. You could see that. Now, the crux of the problem came from John Ejekum Kufuor and his crony Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo and the cronies. Why? Because they have set up the agenda, falsely branding me a Muslim. If I should get the support of Israel in that extent, it gets them exposed, and that doesn't look good for them, and that's good for George W. Bush either. So they must find means to fight back when His Excellency John Ivan Fifi Atamils was the president. In the year 2011, when I had come to Ghana to visit with the U.S. and come to Ghana to stay, but in the mind of the U.S. and he had come to visit with my two innocent children, John Ejekum Kufuor, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo. The minds that have created this problem had to demand, be on the neck of the administration of John Ivan Fifi Atamils. I must be disowned, given over by the administration of John Ivan Fifi Atamils for me to be killed. Otherwise, to them, America will come and kill them. They will get exposed, and their lives are at stake. Ghana. That was why the Barack Obama's administration, through the CIA, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo, John Ejekum Kufuor, employing the new terrorist of their network, supported by the CIA, orchestrating from the U.S. Embassy to get me kidnapped, to kill me in secrecy, while they have willfully set up my family members, my extended families in Ghana, set them up to put the face of their crime upon them, that they may look innocent. Ghana, let's see this. In that willful violation of the Constitution of Ghana and international law to lynch me, to kill me on the soil of Ghana, they created a more ugly situation for Israel. Why? Because as at the time of the kidnapping, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, by name Donald G. Tetelboa, was an Israeli. It was an Israeli. He was from Israel, but he is an American citizen. Ghana, that tactical setup was engaging to get me killed at the time the U.S. ambassador was an Israeli. And his name is Donald G. Tetelboa. Calculatedly, Barack Obama and his administration with the CIA, they had to do this. Because by so doing, if I would try to expose the crime, it will look as if while His Excellency John Ivan Fifi Atamils was pushing to get Israel to fight for me, that America understand that you cannot destroy this African's life. He's an innocent man that you are doing this to him, and he had nothing to do with Islam or terrorism. He was just set up by his own people. If I would seek to press for justice in the kidnapping, they would it would be that the kidnapping having been orchestrated from the U.S. Embassy at the time, an Israeli was the ambassador. So I would, in a way, in exposing the crime, have to mention the Israeli U.S. ambassador Donald G. Tetelboa. But the truth is, he was not representing Israel. He was not in the country representing Israel. The U.S. embassy was not run by Israel. So he did not plot the kidnapping or go ahead for the kidnapping in the capacity or as an Israeli. No, it was the CIA. It was the terror network of Nana Addo Akufo Addo that orchestrated the kidnapping, and I was kidnapped and the lynching. But they had to do it tactically in such a way that they would push me into the corner the more, that in an effort to fight for justice, they would create a sour situation between myself, between the administration of John Ivan Fifi Ataba and Israel, and by so doing get me betrayed and given over for destruction. Ghana, humanity and the nations of the world, noble Muslims of the nations of the world, noble Christians of the nations of the world. Israel did not create this problem. Palestine did not create this problem. The noble Muslims of the Christians of the nations of the world did not create this problem. However, the consequence thereof has fallen on all of us, on the entire human race, on the United Nations, and we are the ones suffering the consequence of the evil deeds of men. I want to reiterate again. We shall go to part 2, but let's understand that this expose is dedicated to Israel, dedicated to Palestine, dedicated to my family in Ghana. We shall go to part 2 and understand why at a point Israel has Netanyahu and his administration, they felt pushed to the corner and they had to give up on me, in a way opening the way for John Dejikumbu, for Nana Addo Akufo Addo to terrorize me and to have their way to advance the heinous crime that they have committed against humanity at the expense of the precious blood of Ghanaians. Let's go to the next expose. God bless you, and God bless my homeland, Ghana. Bye.